Well, I've recorded a piece from, I think, more or less this exact same spot before, so welcome back. The difference is, last time I was here on this access road, it was pouring down with rain and all the lights were running, and I was heading up there to take some images above Fun on Lugwy. And there's my old friend Treban. So welcome back, but you might see from t-shirt it's far from rain today. In fact, it's pretty hot, pretty humid, pretty close. And then what I'm doing, I've got my tent on my back and I'm heading into the hills. Going to find a spot to pitch my tent and hopefully get some images. So, a bit cloudy. So what we've got at the moment is high cloud and some low cloud, and the forecast is for the high cloud to break up. So hopefully that happens, and I've got to head up that way. See, as I speak, the sun's come out a little bit, so it's about 2.5 hours till sunset. So hopefully I'm up high-ish at sunset and looking into a nice mountain scene. So stay with me and I'll speak to you soon. Well, I'm at a crossroads, so just show you, I've come up that way and Fun on Lugwy. That way is Carned Llewellyn. That way is Ybraiach, I think, Ybraiach. Someone will correct me on that one, but I'm going to go that way. Two reasons. One, I want to get on the summit and the kind of peak of Ybraiach to look down the Ogwen Valley. And two, and just as important, I met 3 groups of people on my way up who were all going to camp on Carned Llewellyn. So feels like it's going to be a bit of a tent city, so I'm heading that way. Not that I don't like people, but when you go wild camping, you don't want to be surrounded with a load of other people, so hopefully I'll get a spot to myself. And if you've watched my previous film, you might recognise this, because I think I sat down where those rocks are. Sorry, I've seen my previous film from this location. I sat down there and took some images, and in the back of my mind, I think there was some snow. I think it was snowing, in fact. No danger of any snow today, but hopefully you can see it's a bit of sun coming out. So what I'm hoping is when I get to the summit, I can look down the valley and maybe get some late evening sun. But look at this. This is, I think, bilberry, and it's all gone brown. Because of the dry weather, I imagine. So, talking of dry weather, quite thirsty now. But anyway, I'm off up that way, and I'll give you a view just before I say bye. It's a reservoir, you can see, don't know if you can make out, but the water level's really low. And I'm heading up that way, and I'll probably be just off the summit. So I find somewhere off the summit to pitch my tent, view that way, and then in the morning, the sun's going to be coming up over there. So hopefully something good happens. But now the wind's picking up. Right, some more leg busting climbing to go, but not far. See you soon. Well, I was going to say I'm on the summit, but I'm not on the summit. Summit is there, and the summit is Pentir Helgi do. How's that? Pentir Helgi do. So anyway, it's quite a scramble up. So when I spoke to you previously, I said I was at the crossroads. I don't know if you can see, there's a path that runs along that ridge. I was about in the middle, but yeah, it's quite a scramble up, bit of hands and knees stuff at a couple of points. But I'm looking towards Carned Llewellyn. Oh, and I put a warm jacket on, you might notice, because as soon as you stop putting in any effort, gets cold. So the cloud has actually broken up, but over there, and the sun is over there. But I can't complain, because look at this. Look. And look at this. So lovely cloud. So just hanging on Trevan and Gliravac and Agarn and Moyle Shabod. So it's lovely. If the I think I mentioned it right at the beginning. There's like there's a layer of high cloud and then this low cloud. If the high cloud was broken up, that'd be fabulous. But it is what it is. But see, there's cloud rolling over Carned David and Penny Went. So that cloud is seems to be constantly rolling and then disappearing. But anyway, what I'm trying to do, there's a bit of cloud appearing, so it's coming over. That might help me actually. So I've set up. What I'm trying to do is use this path, and it's a bit gloomy, so it's going to be a long shutter speed. But I'm trying to use this path to lead the eye up to Llywelyn, and kind of get the kind of cliffs and kind of jagged kind of landscape in the scene. And I'm using this bit of the path as the foreground, so I'll show you what I'm up to. So kind of here's this path here is in this bottom corner, so rule of thirds starts there, and then you might not be able to see it on this screen, but the path runs up kind of here, and the summit of Llywelyn is right on the rule of thirds. So you know, what I'm hoping is kind of Llywelyn's on that rule of thirds, and then you've got the kind of the mountain falling away a little bit. Well, that's the idea anyway. So you can see there's a big contrast between the mountain and the sky. So I'm take a reading off Carned Llywelyn. I keep saying that because I just like saying Llywelyn. And so take a reading off Llywelyn, and then I'm going to go up on the sky, take a reading off the sky, and what I'll do in Photoshop is well, the technique is you open one image above the other and then you just paint in the sky. So using the foreground on one image and the sky in the other, and you just paint it in, being careful not to kind of go too much. But there's a bit of mist forming down in the valley, so and I can see some mist forming over there, so it might be quite a misty night. There's a lot of mist actually forming kind of over in the kind of, I guess that's the Denbighshire plains, if such a thing exists. So you never know. It's there's quite a breeze blowing, but if the breeze drops, be careful. If the breeze drops, it'd be lovely to get some kind of mist in the valleys in the morning when I wake up. So I'm hoping for that. So what I'm going to take a couple more here, and then I'm going to head up a little bit onto the summit and see if I can get something just that way, looking at Trevan and the Glider Eye and Agarn. But light's not very good. But anyway, and then I'm going to find somewhere to put me. I think I've spotted a place for my tent. That there seems to be a bit of a plateau just down from one of the summits, which would be quite nice. And then I can have my what have I got? I think I've got chili con carne. So anyway, going to see if I can get something that way, and then put my tent up. Cloud has broken up. I've set my tent up. Cloud has broken up, and the sun is down. So it's kind of sod's law, isn't it? It's beautiful. It's probably a bit dark for the GoPro, but it's a lovely bit of just wisps of cloud on Trevan. That cloud is still rolling over the top of Carned David, but it's probably a bit dark. So I've had a go at getting this image with the lake in the foreground, and kind of there's a little bit of colour in the sky, a tiny little bit of colour in the sky, but I think it's a bit dark. One of the challenges here as well is there's no foreground interest really. I'm just enjoying it. I might try and zoom in a little bit on Trevan, but what time is it actually? I've completely lost track of time. It's 9:30 in the evening, obviously. stays like this in the morning, it'll be cracking. So I'll keep my fingers crossed. There's a little bit of colour in the sky, and some interesting cloud patterns, but it's a bit challenging now that the sun is down, and I set my tent up. I haven't got kind of all my sleeping stuff set up, so I've got to do that before it gets pitch black. I'm just enjoying looking at that cloud spilling over the mountain. So I'm going to zoom in on Trevan, because I think that looks quite nice with a kind of wisp of cloud, and see if I can get anything there. And then I'll probably go back to my tent, set my sleeping stuff up and my chili con carne, and go to sleep. Good morning. So you might guess from the fact I'm wearing waterproofs that the weather's not up so much. So not a bad night. It's quite a sheltered spot. A little bit windy at times, but nothing like previous occasions when it felt like I was in the middle of a gale. But about 3:30, I was woken up by a little bit of rain, and if I look at the tent, there's quite a lot of water on it. And about 5 I looked out. Let's see what we can see. So it's just really low cloud. So I'm going to put my shoes on and get my stuff packed, but I don't think I'll be even bothering to get my camera out today because it doesn't look good. So not great. I was hoping for some nice conditions this morning, and the weather forecast was for reasonable conditions, but once again the weather forecast is wrong. So I'm going to pack everything up. Well, actually, I'm going to have my breakfast, then pack everything up, and then hope while I'm having breakfast things clear away. But yeah, I'm not too confident of that. But I'll see you soon. The beautiful Ogwen Valley. Look at that. Trevan, Glittervac. Really poor visibility. Just as I was coming down the path here, it lifted a little bit, and I could see just a bit of the reservoir, but just a kind of glimpse, and it was gone. So I think it's fair to say I've packed everything up, and I'm heading down. I think it's fair to say that there's not going to be much photography today. Probably see 100 feet down there, not far in that direction. So them's the breaks, I suppose. And one thing I want to say is it's conditions like this where you absolutely must have a map and compass. I've got mine in my bag. Now the visibility is not bad and the path is quite clearly marked, but if you got off the path a little bit, and well, you can see if you head off in that direction, the next stop is the bottom of the valley floor. So if you're out and about, you must have a map and compass. But more important than having a map and compass, you must know what to do with them. So you must know how to take a bearing and follow a bearing. So it's actually quite warm. So I've got my full waterproofs on, but it's a bit warm. Incredibly still. There's no wind, so I don't think there's much sign of this moving. So I'm going to carry on down the path and head back to the car. And if something happens between now and then, I'll speak to you then. If not, I'll probably speak to you at the car. I'm out of the clouds. So the clouds I was in, and I can now see Ogwen Valley. That's not bad, is it? Beautiful bit of cloud on top of Trevan, just kind of holding on there. And Voelgoch, is it Voelgoch? I think so. Lovely bit of cloud just sat in there. So a little bit challenging for photography purposes, because that cloud in the middle is super white, but then you've got shadow here, got blue sky. I'm using these rocks in the foreground which are super bright. Shadows coming and going along the valley, so quite challenging to get an exposure. So I'm bracketing, as you would suspect. I've got my polarizer in just to put a bit of blue in the sky, and I'm using a composition with hopefully these rocks kind of parallel the mountains, so I'll show you. It's quite hard to see because the sun's over my shoulder, but I'll brighten it a lot. So I've got the rocks down here in my kind of bottom third. I've then got the mountains in the middle third and the sky top third, so hopefully you can kind of get what I'm trying to achieve. But there's a little bit of brightness in the sky, which is quite a challenge, so I'm going to do a second exposure for that cloud. It's incredibly windy, so apologies for the noise on the microphone if there is any. But yeah, I walked down through the cloud and you could not see more than maybe 50, 100 meters. I saw a couple of wild ponies in the distance, kind of silhouettes, which is kind of cool. And then I was anticipating the cloud would be kind of down at low level, but as I kind of came down out of the cloud, the valley opened up. It's kind of just fortunate circumstances. This isn't the weather forecast. The weather forecast is for heavy clouds, so maybe I should just ignore the weather forecast in future. So what I'm going to do is hang around and just see how that clouds develop, take some different ones with the kind of different cloud formations. What seems to be happening, because the wind's blowing in my face, it seems to be pushing cloud up over Trevan and then into the kind of valley a bit and then up over Voelgoch. So you've got like a roller coaster of clouds, and then you can see kind of just it kind of reforms. So it's interesting, but it'd be nice just to hang around. Well, I am going to hang around and just try different cloud patterns and different light patterns. Oh, and I had my all-day breakfast. It's one of those mountain food packs. It's not bad actually, but it's mostly beans and sausage. So yeah, that'll probably have an impact later on. But yeah, it's pretty good. They heat themselves up. So let's see how this develops. I think my least favourite people in the world right at this moment are weather forecasters. So clear blue sky, and the weather forecast says fog. Oh, what's this going over? Oh, peregrine falcon, look at that. Don't know if you saw that. Peregrine falcon just came over. So worked my way down, heading eventually back to the cart, and the actual path goes down along that way, but there's another path comes along these leats. I think it's a drainage system. There's not a lot of water in it at the moment. I've seen it a lot fuller, but it's providing some nice lines and some shapes. It's also reflecting the blue in the sky because it's quite still. So I'm aiming for an image. So I'm at a bit where there's just a bit of a bend. I might, as I work my way along, I might stop a couple more times, but there's a bend, and there's a path along the top of the leat. So the path, you can hopefully see there's an S. It's almost a double S actually, going along the top of the path. You can't quite see the S in the leat because it disappears, but I'm using that, and I'll show you again. This might be, try and put my shadow on the leats coming in at the bottom corner, and you've got this S shape coming along, and then I've got Trevan over there. Just got my polarizer in to take some of the blue and darken it a bit. It also takes some of the sheen off the top of the water. But what I'm aiming for is the S shape leading round into the island, round into the valley. I'd be interested as I get further along to see if there's any more shapes. Be nice if there's one that curves that way, but I quite like this S shape here. And you can see cloud has more or less disappeared from Trevan. So forecasters. Well, all done. Came along the there's actually fish in it. I'm quite surprised. So, I don't know what type, but you know, reasonable, a couple of inch long. So that's quite interesting. But I've just taken some into the valley, and I'm not far from the road which leads back down to the car. So where that gate is the path back down to the car. So I spent the night. I walked up we see that dip onto that ridge and then up onto Pen Ear Hegledu. Try my best, and back down this way. So the weather forecast still says fog. Don't know where the fog is, but anyway, hope you enjoyed that trip. It'll be a few weeks now until I post anything else, because I'm off up to Scotland, and although I'll be recording videos when I'm up there, I won't be posting them until I get back. So might be 3 or 4 weeks. So if you can't live without me, check my Instagram, because I'll be putting lots of stuff on there. I've got 2 Instagram accounts, Damian Waters and I think Damian Waters Photography. Check out my Instagram and you can see what I'm up to in Scotland, and see you soon. Bye.